We're Vox Machina. We fuck shit up.
And fuck shit up, they certainly did. Now, The Legend of Vox Machina is finally out. We have the first 3 episodes up. So first and foremost, this is your only spoiler warning. This video will contain spoilers for episode 1, 2, and potentially campaign 3 of Critical Role. So head on out, go watch all of that, then come back. I cannot begin to express how happy I am with the series so far. As a viewer since the Geek and Sundry days, I can happily say that they have not pulled any punches, they are not apologetic for any of their characters, and on top of that, they have stuck to the story really well, or they are at least honoring it as best as they can in sections where they have to change things. Episode 1 and 2 detail the pre-stream story that we never got to see of General Krieg, also known as Brimscythe, the Iron Storm, the Blue Dragon. And though I would have loved to have seen the Kraghammer arc, I can understand that it's probably a bit difficult to animate that based on the team at the time, and then on top of that, copyright issues where Wizards of the Coast own copyright to a beholder, and so changing all of those things in particular would have been really difficult, and we can already see where they're changing some things based on copyright. For example, Bigby's hand doesn't get mentioned at all, however Scanlan does shout out now, Scanlan's hand, and the spell still works as normal. We also have the Blue Dragon design is pretty much completely different. It doesn't have the iconic horn that a Blue Dragon in Dungeons & Dragons has. And finally, just as a small thing, Grey Skull Keep hasn't been referenced yet by that name. It's actually only been referenced as The Keep or Their Keep. So they're definitely tiptoeing around the copyright issues. Also, Kraghammer is a great arc. However, knowing about Brimscythe is way more important for future arcs that we're going to actually see than what happened in Kraghammer. So it's really almost as if though these are a bit of a tease for what is to come. Legend of Vox Machina truly does amazing things. I love that the characters feel exactly how they did during streams. Vex and Vax have their twin charm as well as their own individual skills that are put to use. Percy is a snobbish noble who has fallen from grace but holds on to whatever shred of dignity he still has, and this is perfect for the arc we are about to see for his character. I forgot how sweet Pike really is, but then on top of that, I forgot how grungy and just like the rest of the group she actually is. Now we also have Grog being a little bit dumber than I remember.
What? Sam, no, I'm not going on a food run, dummy. Please?
But it works because basically the contrast when we have serious Grog moments hits so much harder than if he were to be more of a base intelligence. It's just gut-wrenching moments, and there are a few in the future that we all know we're not going to survive without shedding a tear. Scanlan is, of course, the classic bard we all want to be, and just like Sam, goes further than you thought possible. And then there's Keyleth. Keyleth is spot on. I'm really happy with the direction that they went, that they stuck true to the character. She is this inexperienced adventurer, this novice, this person who has intense self-doubt and has the weight of an entire race of people on her shoulders. And now we get to enjoy seeing that character growth. That arc is going to be massive, and seeing her grow into the voice of the Tempest is going to be something that we all are going to appreciate and really love seeing. There are so many great things and great moments and great Easter eggs and just everything that happens in these 2 episodes that I'm not going to be able to encapsulate all of them. However, here are a few particular things that I thoroughly enjoyed. As a Critical Role fan, these are the things I really, really loved. That your turn to roll turned into an orchestra for the battle music in the tavern. Keyleth asking why they're all together anyway is so important and is a serious moment in the actual campaign that they have as a conversation, which propels them into their future heroics, really. The Critical Role logo on the palace doors I thought was a nice touch. Did you notice both of Matt's NPCs in episode 1 and 2? I really hope that he has an NPC in each episode. That would be really fun. It's almost like a Where's Wally or a Where's Waldo if you're from America, but instead it's Matt Mercer. Immediately showing the Vax-Keyleth love connection begin to grow was really nice. The amount of foreshadowing for the Chroma Conclave was just key, on point. Not only through Vex and Vax's mother story, the little drip feed of their mother being killed by a red dragon, then the council speaking to Allura, saying that she's dealt with a dragon before, and then obviously when we go into General Krieg's home, pointing out that he must love dragons, and the Chroma Conclave rug, which I want now. I need a rug like that on the floor. And then we get the Easter egg, or not really Easter egg, but we get the crystals that all of the other dragons use to communicate with each other, and we see our lovely green dragon Eye, if we all know who that is. Something about hearing Liam call out for Pike in desperation, it was just gut-wrenching, and I think it's just because I've heard him do that so many times in the campaign. It just brought up all these other more painful moments, and again, there's going to be more tears to come because those moments are going to happen. They're too important to not be in the animated series, so get ready for tears, everyone. Get ready. Gilmore? Do I really need to say any more than that? And then on top of that, in Gilmore's store, seeing the Tusk Love book open up, that is definitely a fantastic Easter egg for all the Critical Role Campaign 2 viewers out there. The group struggling with a door, the troll dick as well, figuring out where that had come from. I wonder how it got into that blue dragon's lair. Grog's "I would like to rage" line. I'm so happy that he said it. I didn't think he was going to do it. I thought maybe it'd be a bit cringe if he did, but it actually was perfect. And him going into a rage, and then just that utter destruction afterwards. I need that artwork. I want that somewhere in my room or on my wall, or just even my laptop desktop screen. Just that image of Grog and the blue dragon dead is amazing. Something that I really appreciated about this actual series already is the fact that as a D&D player, I can see how they've animated certain abilities, which I think is fantastic. However, it doesn't make the story come across as high fantasy and only a high fantasy cartoon. And it also doesn't push the idea that, hi, we're D&D. Did you realize? Oh, D&D. It's not in your face. I really, really love the fact that they got the balance just right. And some of my favorite things about being a D&D player in this are noticing certain things, such as, for example, in the Tavern Brawl, Vex is bumped by Pike, and so she, as a ranger, has difficulty shooting her arrows, and that shows the whole idea that even your friends in a battle are going to get in your way, which is why you have disadvantage. Then there's also, again, with Vex, and this is probably the most prominent one of all the abilities, is her favored enemy. I've always wondered how this ability for rangers really works, and I think this is a fantastic example where she gets this piercing sound in her head when she is close by. It works because it's a dragon and they're less common. If you had your favorite enemy as like goblins or something, that would get really annoying and you just have these headaches. I really love Detect Magic from Pike. I think that's a fantastic representation. It's kind of how I already imagined it anyway, but seeing it actually drawn up in something official is really cool. And finally, something that I actually think is fantastic about this entire first 2 episodes is it shows you how terrifying a dragon attack really should be for your players. I mean, every time Brimscythe showed up, I was so concerned, regardless of who was in the actual scene. When they had the moment of Brimscythe, the Ironstorm, flying in towards the Taldore encampment, the guards, the army, I just was terrified for them. And it was brutal. It was really gory. And I love that. I think it's fantastic. So I think this is the feeling that I want to start pushing for my players in my games, because that's how a dragon should feel. People shouldn't feel confident when one shows up, even if you're not in their lair. I really like that this is the story that we get showing how they became honorary council members. Now, it is different to what happened in their pre-streaming days. So we're not going to get animated versions of Uriel and his family being possessed by his advisor and Vox Machina saving them. And that also means that we're not going to get Pike's death scene and seeing the actual players, or the cartoon version of the players, pull off a Matt Mercer resurrection spell. And I guess I'm kind of okay with that. It probably wouldn't have hit so hard in the first episode anyway, unless you were a critter. So I can let that one slide. Overall, I think episodes 1 and 2 are their own small story, but will have huge implications in the future. If I had to give them a rating, I'd give them 3 out of 5 trinkets. Basically because great introduction, easy to understand if you've never seen Critical Role before, music is on point, and the show can only really grow from here. Now, I do think that this amount of swearing is going to be pretty off-putting for some, not for me personally. It is relatively gory, not an issue for me as well, but I can see others not being that into that. You know, everyone has preferences. And I have a feeling that episode 1 and 2 are going to feel relatively disconnected from the coming arc. However, these 2 episodes have done their job. They are the initial introduction, and I think they really pulled it off amazingly. Let me know in the comments down below what was your opinion of these first 2 episodes, and until the next video, go roll some dice.